Osnat's here. Okay, all right, I'm pulling it together.
Hey, Wendy.
Yay! All right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I'm ready. Hey, can you see my slides?
Yes.
Yay. Okay, great. Well, welcome. We're calling this Digestive Systems 101 because the digestive system is a huge, crazy, complicated system in the body, but it doesn't have to be. We can make it really simple for us. I mean, we just want to know what's going on in there when you have a digestive system and how can we support the body in its task to take your food from food to information for your body. And I recently had the pleasure of studying with Osnat, who is on the screen there, with Osnat, taking a class to become a certified functional nutrition coach. And Osnat and I are study buddies, so we get together every week and we discuss the topics of the course. And it's been a great opportunity for me to learn and obviously get to know Osnat and my other friend Mary. So I'm so happy that you're here, Osnat. And don't be shy. If there's something that I glazed over that I didn't say right, you can go ahead and fill in the blanks. So this little piece of paper that you're looking at here, it comes from our coursework, the Functional Nutrition Alliance coursework, which is taught by Andrea Nakamaya. And I loved this because it really helps to simplify the role of the digestive system and what we need to do to have a healthy digestive system. And we're going to go through each one of these secrets: food, chewing, water, probiotics, stomach acid and enzymes, and fiber. We're going to go through each one of those. And I'd love this to be a dialogue, so don't let it be the Wendy and Kimberly show. Let's go ahead and hear from you if you have something you want to add, something that's worked for you, questions that you might have. And then if we don't have answers for you today, we'll definitely get back to you, okay? All right, so let's, without further ado, talk about the first secret of healthy digestion is to make the right food choices for your body. It seems so simple, right? For those of us that are mindful about what we eat, it seems relatively straightforward, but there's lots and lots of us that are on autopilot when we eat. I'm just going to let Terry come in. We're on autopilot when we eat. And so we're eating things that have maybe too much salt, maybe too much sugar, maybe there's a lot of processed ingredients in your food, and your digestive system has to sort through all of that information to come away with ultimately the macronutrients that are giving the body the tools that it needs. So the macronutrients being carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. So we want to make good food choices for your body. And that might mean something very different for Marcy as opposed to Kimberly. What Marcy would find beneficial in her body might be different. And when I was studying my health coaching certificate a few years ago, I remember them saying that, you know, all the kale in the world isn't going to heal a crummy lifestyle. So you also have to consider stress and sleep and medications that you're taking. So there's this symphony that's happening right underneath your skin, and you're trying to manage all of these things to ultimately have just stellar digestion. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So eating poorly does two things for your body. It can prevent you from getting the nutrients you need to stay healthy. So of course, if somebody isn't getting enough protein, for example, then her hair might be falling out, her fingernails are a little thin, maybe she's noticing some premature aging, but it can also turn on some genetic switches that can lead to poor health. So if you have let's say breast cancer, excuse me, let's say breast cancer runs in your family, definitely your diet can play into whether or not that switch gets turned on. And one thing that I really want to impress upon all of us as women is to make sure you get enough fiber in your diet, because the estrogen is going to be ultimately eliminated from your body through the fiber in your gut. So you want to make sure you have enough fiber to carry those toxins out. And then the other thing that can happen is it can change the composition of your gut microbiome, right? So if you're eating cookies and candy and cakes, guess what microbiome you're feeding? The ones that love cookies and candy and cake. And you starve out the microbiome that thrives on healthier foods. And this can create an opportunity for poor nutrient absorption. So we want to crowd out the microbiota. We want to have really healthy microbiota. And so eating poorly is going to influence the microbiota and the genetic switches. Okay, so as doTERRA wellness advocates and customers, I'm sure that everybody's familiar with the Lifelong Vitality Pack. And I always recommend this to my nutrition clients because frankly, a lot of them don't get the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that the body needs to run effectively. And so we have the alpha, the XE omega, and the VMZ that'll help to fill in the missing links. Anybody on the call taking the LLV? Anybody taking that right now? Yeah, such a great product. So does somebody, maybe Terry, do you want to tell me what did you notice when you started taking the Lifelong Vitality? Did you have any aha moments?
Well, I just noticed a general increase in energy, okay, for
Yeah.
openers. And it wasn't just in the morning, it was all day long. And I notice, I mean, on the rare occasion when I don't take it, I do notice that I just kind of drag a little more. I'm just not as motivated. My brain isn't as clear. I mean, it's so much. It's very, may seem subtle, but it's there, and it makes a big difference.
Makes a huge difference. Thank you for sharing
Yes.
that with us. It makes a huge difference because all of these nutrients are going to feed your cells. And if the cells are starving, then they're not going to make good decisions. They're not going to be robust and healthy. And I, like you, noticed a great increase in energy and stamina. I've got someone else coming in. Yeah, so thank you for sharing that. The other thing that I feel like I need to add is that everybody's food requirements truly are different. And it's worth it if you feel that you're having some digestive system symptoms that are just reoccurring or they're chronic. It's really worth it to do an elimination diet. An elimination diet is one in which you remove certain food triggers, things like soy, nuts, dairy, certainly alcohol, maybe caffeine, sugars, you know, these common irritants in the digestive system. They come out for a week, and then the next week we put them back in one at a time, and we get a sense of how those particular foods are influencing how you feel. And I'm a perfect example of that. I had this ring of dry skin around my mouth for years that I was really embarrassed by. Long story short, I did a cleanse, an elimination diet, and I didn't eat eggs for 2 weeks. And my skin totally cleared up. So I had no idea that it was an egg allergy that I was dealing with. So if anybody's interested in an elimination transition diet, I hope that you'll reach out to me because I have a lot of great information for you and really simple ways and delicious ways to get that done. The next secret on that initial handout at the first slide was chewing. Don't you love Ross? So we want to sit and relax and chew. You don't want to be standing at your kitchen counter. You certainly don't want to be hitting that drive-through, driving home, munching on your French fries. You want to sit and relax and chew. And chewing is a hugely important part of digestion. When you think about digestion, I want you to consider that there's a mechanical and a chemical process that has to happen, right? So the mechanical process is the chewing. You're breaking down the food that's in your mouth. And this is where carbohydrate starts to break down here in your mouth with particular enzymes that are in your saliva. Also, while you're chewing, your brain is busy communicating to your gut. Here she comes, she's sending down some asparagus, you know, whatever it is. So then your gut can get a chance to get the proper enzymes and start to get that stomach acid up where it needs to be to help break down your food. So just chew, 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 chew. It's good for your stomach acid. It's good. It's certainly good to exercise your jaw, all good things with chewing. So like I said, it increases stomach acid, and stomach acid is a good thing. I was just seeing on Facebook that there's an article about proton pump inhibitors, and dementia. So just be aware that those particular products are not meant for long-term use, right? They're just to give you some ease of symptoms, but I can help you increase that stomach acid and close off the lower esophageal sphincter, which is the sphincter that connects your esophagus to your stomach. And that one can be a little flaccid, and that's what causes the acids to come up into the esophagus and gives you that sensation. We also, of course, have some great doTERRA products that can help you with those symptoms. But over the long haul, the doTERRA products are great to relieve the symptoms, but what we're trying to do is to get to a root cause resolution, right? Chewing is also going to help you improve the absorption because we talked about those enzymes. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. It helps to decrease gas, bloat, constipation, and headaches, because the food that you're eating is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. It's less work on your body to digest your food. And again, it's going to improve your energy. So you don't want to be using energy to digest your food. You want your food to give you energy, and making good food choices, going back to that first slide, is really an important thing to consider. So my next slide is about water. That was another aspect of one of those secrets. And I would say in general, you should try to drink about 2.5 quarts of water a day, because that's about how much you lose through urinating and sweating, and just breathing eliminates water from your body. It's interesting to note that when you drink water, it goes right down into your stomach and then into the small intestines, where it's absorbed into your body from the small intestines. The water molecules are so small that they slip easily through the small intestines. Contrast that with alcohol. Alcohol goes into your stomach, and the alcohol can be excreted right through the stomach into the bloodstream. It's amazing for me to consider that. And you need water to support every system of your body. Let me give you a little hint. If you're feeling dehydrated, a great way to rehydrate the body quickly is to get a little piece, a little granule of Celtic salt, and put that in your mouth. Let it sit there for a moment, and then drink some water, and the salt will start to work with the cells in your body to help the water come into the cells. There needs to be a relationship inside and outside of the cells between sodium and potassium. And so when you take in some Celtic salt, it can help trigger the cell to open the door to get some water in there. My next slide is about some digestive symptoms that you can attend to with our doTERRA products just by putting them in your water. So if you want, you could take a screenshot of this. You'll obviously get it in a replay as well. And you'll see one essential oil in particular keeps coming up and up and up, and that's Digestion. How many of us have taken Digestion? Has anybody tried that before? Yeah, Terry, you tried it. So can you tell us what happened when you took it?
Well, what I like about it is that it's based on what form it's in. You can take it in different ways. On the occasion when I eat something I shouldn't eat, then the gut comes and says, and I just take a couple of drops on my fingers and just rub it right on my belly. Okay. And that pain and cramping or whatever that is, that discomfort goes away in a very short period of time.
It's
Once in a while, I'll
amazing.
take it with some water and just, maybe before I know I'm going to be eating a piece of cheesecake or something like that, something I shouldn't be eating, but I want it. I don't want to, change my life completely. And I don't want to shortchange myself on a birthday or something like that. I take a little drop of Digestion with some water ahead of time. And that's nice too.
Right.
Yeah.
And life is meant to be lived. And there's so many beautiful foods out there to eat and enjoy and to help you celebrate your life. So I'm with you. I don't want to eliminate anything necessarily, but I'm happy to have my Digestion when I need it. The time that I used it, that was the very first time I used it, I was prescribed an antibiotic, and the pharmacist had said, this is going to tear your stomach apart. And I had just recently gotten my oils, and I opened up my bag and I said, well, there must be something in here that can help me. And I pulled out the Digestion, and I just had an aha moment just in a matter of seconds. I had relief. I couldn't believe how quickly it worked. Anybody else have any comments about essential oils to help with digestive symptoms, something that you've experienced? All righty then. So next we're going to talk about the microbiome. So this is the other healthy secret, a probiotic. And Andrea Nakamaya from the Nutrition Alliance has said on numerous occasions, the best thing you can do for your gut is take a probiotic. And I'm so excited about doTERRA's new products, the Restore and the PB Assist, which we'll talk about just in a minute. But the microbiome is a hugely influential collection of bacteria in your body. When the microbiome is out of balance, meaning you have more bad bacteria than good bacteria, it can lead to more inflammation in the body. It can lead to weight gain. It can lead to binging and cravings. And so we want to keep that microbiome in its right proportion. And one of the best ways to do that is to make sure that you're eating a lot of plants, and that's going to help support the microbiome, and it feeds the microbiome. And I'm going to go on to my next slide here, which is the new products, which I'm sure you're familiar with. We spent quite a bit of time talking about these two products in our last class. And so I'm just going to refer you back to the product reveal class that we had a couple of weeks ago if you want to learn more about these two. But just in general, the PB Restore is an amazing new product that has probacteria in it, which feeds your probiotics. It has probiotics in it. It has metabolites, which are the end products of probiotics. And that's what helps to connect the brain and the gut. And it helps you with things like satiety, helps you with things like curbing cravings. And it's going to be helpful for every system in the body, everything from your skin to your mouth, all the way through the gut. And the PB Assist is for the stomach in particular, and you can see that it's in a powder form. You mix it with water. So both of these products are going to be available to you starting next month in our regular catalog. But if you're eager for them, you could purchase, I think they still have the convention kits available if you're eager to get your hands on it. So these are some of the testimonials that came out of convention for the PB Assist and the Restore products. And then I just want to continue to hammer out that taking care of your microbiome and your microbiome will take care of you. So your health really does depend on this good balance of gut bacteria. Okay. Oh, Kimberly, you want to talk about stomach acid?
Yes. And I know there was a question about proton pump inhibitors and acid blockers. And so I really want to talk to you about this, you guys. Our stomach acid is important. Our stomach acid breaks down the food that we have. And one of the things that is kind of myth, the doctors put you on acid blockers immediately when you have GERD or when you're having issues like that. And 95% people do not produce enough acid. It's not because you're producing too much acid, because you don't have enough acid to digest your food. And as we get older, so generally about 35 years old, we don't stop producing, but we start producing less stomach acid. Okay. And I also want to address enzyme. Okay. Our body also activates digestive enzymes. Unfortunately, most of the foods that we have these days are so enzyme depleted because the majority of American food is processed. So there's no enzymes in that. Most of the vegetables and the fruits, which have great enzymes in them, are picked so early because of the shelf life that they don't properly ripen. So they don't have the same amount of enzymes as they would as if you were growing your own fruit and your own vegetables and you pick them when they're ready. The enzymes are more readily available to break down so your body can digest. So what happens as we age, we're producing less and less. And I know you're thinking, well, that doesn't make any sense. What happens is if you're eating food and you're not chewing properly, right? Because that is an important thing. And you've got all this food sitting in your stomach and you've got less stomach acid and ways to break down the, natural enzymes, less enzymes to break down the food sits in your gut. And what it does is it begins to putrefy because it's just sitting there. And so that putrefaction is what comes up and, and gives you the GERD or the burping or the burn, any of those different things. And so giving yourself something to block the acid is the wrong thing to do. It's a Band-Aid. It stops the acid from coming out. But what you want to do is you want to be able to digest that food better. And as we said, this first, number one is adding enzymes to your diet. Now, I got into enzymes before I got into doTERRA. And so I was using enzymes and I found out about HCl, which is hydrochloric acid, and that is what your body naturally produces. So doTERRA has TerraZyme, right? And the TerraZyme, if you just remember the zyme, that's the enzyme. These are enzymes, okay? And it's a full spectrum enzyme. It's got all the different types, and you might have tried some papaya enzyme before or some different little enzymes. You need a combination of all of these. And this has the protease and the papain from papaya. It's got lactase. It's got, and it also has betaine HCl, okay? So that is what helps you break down your food. So taking a couple of enzymes with your food, especially hard to digest food. I mean, if you're having a bowl of soup or something like that, or oatmeal, it's a different thing. But this actually helps to break down the food so that you can get the nutrition from the food. And if you're having troubles, or if you're on any sort of acid blockers, I highly recommend starting with these and slowly wean yourself off those acid blockers. They are not meant to be on long term. There's a lot of side effects. I tried them. I had major side effects with my vision. And this was many years ago when I couldn't find an answer. And that's when I started doing research and finding out about enzymes and HCl. So it's so important, really, really important. And the chewing, I want to say something about the chewing, guys. You know, I hear people say all the time, you got to chew your food. And it's like, yeah, but I'm so busy. Well, let me tell you, there's a thing called mindfulness. And if I just encourage you, sit down with your next meal, and I want you to just stop and think about your food. And I want you to take one bite, and I want you to put it in your mouth, and I want you to feel everything in your mouth. I want you to taste it when you first put it on your tongue, and then start to chew it, and chew it slowly, and just consciously chew food. See how long it takes you to chew before you actually swallow. That is what we should be doing. And most of us don't do that. We're just snarfing our food, me included. I have to mindfully stop and think about my food. And so I'm just going to encourage you to do that and just see how much better you feel after you've eaten that meal. Okay.
Absolutely.
If you want to do an experiment, you could take a bowl of oatmeal or something, and you could open up the capsule. They're just little capsules, and sprinkle the capsule on your oatmeal, and you can just watch what happens. You will watch it liquefy the oatmeal. Okay, that's what it's doing. It's breaking down the food so that your body can digest it. Make sense?
Sure does. And before we leave this slide, I'd like to just also talk a little bit about the lower esophageal sphincter, which is the sphincter that separates the esophagus from the stomach. And when you have low stomach acid, that sphincter doesn't close very well. So now they're giving you a proton pump inhibitor, which lowers the stomach acid even more. So you're getting more of that influence up into the esophagus. One of the things that helps to tighten up the sphincter, not only the HCl, but also magnesium. And so I'm really excited about our product launch that we have scheduled for January, which is going to be that magnesium electrolyte drink. I can't wait for that. And I think that's going to be a big game changer for a lot of us.
Well, and not only is it going to be great for that, but it also will make sure that we're being hydrated enough. Because we were just talking about the amount of water and the water that we need for us to function properly. So
exactly.
That's what they are. They're this is what it looks like. And they have it in 2 flavors. And it's a recharge, and it's got several different types of magnesium, and it's going to, I can't wait, January 1st.
Yeah.
Like
can't wait.
Anyway.
Yeah, can't wait. Okay, so let's go on. So this is what Terry was saying a few minutes ago, that we have so many ways to take the Digestion product. So we have a tablet, and we have the roll-on, the touch, we have soft gels, and then we have our essential oil blend. And all of these work very similarly, I think. The roll-on is really convenient. Just stick it in your purse. And if you're out at dinner, you can just reach into your handbag, lift up your blouse, just rub it right there on your belly. It's so easy to apply it topically. And it's amazing how quickly it works. And then I love the soft gels just for the ease. I haven't tried the Digest tab. Has anybody tried the tablet? Yeah, Kimberly, you've tried that?
And I wanted to say that, you guys, one of the things that I love about this company so much is that they listen. When I first came on board using the essential oils, the only thing that they had was just the Digest Zen 15 ml. And so I would, put it in my water, or like if I was really gassy or really uncomfortable, I'd put it in my water, and I'd also rub it on my tummy, like Terry was saying. But then shortly thereafter, they came out with the touch. But one of the things that I found is there was a lot of people, because the Digest Zen has a blend of some very unique oils: ginger, peppermint, caraway, coriander, tarragon, fennel, and then anise. And a lot of people don't like anise or fennel. That's what they use fresh. And so, like my daughter, for example, cannot stand the smell of the Digest Zen, right? So she wouldn't use it, and she had tummy aches all the time. So when that was one of the things we had put in, we asked doTERRA to please come out with a capsule so people could swallow it, and then they wouldn't have to smell it, right? And
Yeah.
sure enough, a year later, they came out with the Digest Zen Digestive Blend soft gels. And so that's been a lifesaver for all. Cannot stand the smell of Digest, and they use those, and it works great. The Digest tabs are great to chew. A lot of people will eat Tums. Tums are like the worst thing for you. They don't do a thing. And the Digest, and if you like to chew something and you want that creamy feeling, the Digest tabs, they're chewable and they're kind of creamy, and they kind of coat your stomach. And I think they're really good. But if you don't like the taste of the anise or the fennel, you're not going to like the chewables. So all these different ways to deliver. And I'm so grateful to doTERRA for listening and creating all these products. And then they came up with the roll-on too, which is just so handy to have. I don't leave without it.
And I really liked this little slide that I found online to help us learn more about enzymes. So enzymes are cofactors, and what that means is that they help speed along the process of digestion. They help to take carbohydrates, proteins, and fats and move them into units that your body actually then builds other tissues and uses it for other things. And carbohydrates start their digestive process in your mouth with the amylase enzyme. And then in your stomach, we have the hydrochloric acid and the pepsin, and that's going to start to help you digest proteins. And again, just the fact of chewing, like think about chewing a steak, a piece of steak. I want you to chew that steak, chew it like you're chewing your cud, like just chew it because there's no teeth in your stomach, right? There's no other way to help get that into a small enough piece. The stomach does close in on itself, as you're digesting your food, but it's not like chewing. It's not masticating. It's just kind of pressing it into a smaller bundle. So we have the pepsin and the hydrochloric acid in the stomach, and then we go into the upper portion of the small intestine, and we have more enzymes that are secreted here. We're getting bile salts from your gallbladder. We're getting the trypsin and lipase and amylase again into the small intestine. So these things are going to help you break apart your foods. And then in the small intestine, we have, again, more digestive enzymes for the final process of absorption. So most of the foods that you eat are absorbed through the small intestine. I think it's interesting when you think about enzymes and you're having issues with digestion, you might notice that it's a carbohydrate problem or it's a protein problem. So for me personally, I can't really eat a piece of steak. It just sits in my stomach forever. And so I do okay with other macronutrients, but proteins are really hard for me to digest. So that just tells me where in my system I might be having an issue. And again, if you're taking the TerraZyme product, then you'll find that those enzymes are in the product. You can find enzymes in our foods, things like papaya and kiwi, but you know, in Reno, you don't find those foods so much on your plate.
And one of the things too with the with taking the Terrazyme, guys, it's super easy to take. You can add these if you're already, I think every one of you said you're taking the Lifelong Vitality. So when you order your Lifelong Vitality, there's a drop-down menu that will allow you to customize it, and you can add this Terrazyme for half of the cost as if you just put it in your basket. I think it's $20, and so it's cheaper. It's 34, I think, wholesale, but if you add it to your Lifelong Vitality order, you get it for $20, and you can't beat it. And it's just something you should have on your order. And I take, depending on what I'm eating, I'll take 2 with a meal, sometimes just 1, but this got rid of my GERD. Okay.
Awesome.
And using the Digestion too.
And I thought this was an interesting little video of the daily intake of dietary fiber and how depleted Americans are. We don't get in enough fiber. And I mentioned at the beginning of class how important it is, especially as women, to make sure you're getting enough fiber. So hormones are just a crazy complicated, but hugely fascinating topic. So your body's making hormones, then the hormones have to travel through the body, find the organ that it's supposed to connect up with. It finds the organ, makes a great connection, does its job, and then ultimately, ideally, the body eliminates those hormones. If you don't have enough fiber in your body, those hormones linger and they have a chance to recirculate into your body. And that's what leads to those estrogen dominant breast cancers. So I just think that's one reason why we should all be particularly concerned with fiber. I like fiber. I like to think about fiber for nutrition clients that are constipated. And I also like to think about fiber for my nutrition clients that have diarrhea. It does seem that it's an adaptogenic, that it can help people with both of those scenarios. So don't be shy of fiber. Now, there are some people that are cautioned against fiber, people that have maybe colitis or IBD, some of those things. So you do want to work with your medical provider and make sure that it's the right choice. And then slow and steady wins the race. So you don't want to overdo it with fiber, especially if it's something that you're not used to. Just start really slow and increase it as you go. A nice way to start is with the doTERRA products. Oh, let's talk about that for a second before we go to the next slide. So 95% of Americans don't consume the recommended amounts of fiber, and this is children as well as adults. And it's going to affect the rate of digestion, again, constipation to diarrhea. It's going to be involved with the absorption of nutrients. It provides food for probiotics. So we want to make sure that we're feeding the probiotics, and we want to eliminate those excess hormones. And then just finally, the fiber and the greens products would be a great way to start adding fiber into your diet. And I would, again, recommend that you go low and go slow. So don't overwhelm your body if it's something that you haven't been enjoying. So we just wanted to kind of sum things up here and just give you a little bit of a hit list for some of the products that we've mentioned today that would give you digestive support. And I listed products that can help you with the standard American diet, digestive issues, inflammation. So I know we have somebody on the call that was mentioning IBD, that's an inflammatory issue, malabsorption, weight issues. So these are some of the products that we would find helpful for that. There's nothing like, though, working with a professional that can help guide you through a cleanse to really give your liver a break, give you a chance to reset that microbiome and give you a healthy digestion. And then for gas, diarrhea, bloat, constipation, and cramping, we've got our Terrazyme, the Digestion, the doTERRA Nutrition line is helpful. And then some of the essential oils that we mentioned. And I always recommend that you get yourself a good resource book, get an app for your phone so that you always have that information at your fingertips. Don't suffer in silence, and avoid the temptation of an over-the-counter medication. Make sure that you're choosing your products wisely. So any questions, concerns, complaints, anything you want me to talk about that we didn't talk about?
It was a great, very thorough class. It was awesome.
Oh, well, thank you. I
you.
appreciate that. Thanks. So I'm just curious, why was this topic of interest to you? Why did you show up today? Was there something you were hoping to learn?
Hey, Miss Wendy, it's Barbara. I did come in, but late. But
You didn't miss
you
much.
know, you always present so much, both of you, that I have to redo the, I have to rewatch it because there's just, I take everything. It seems like I take everything, but there's always something that I feel I can add. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, my friend Annie said the same thing. She said she's always happy to have the replay.
One more thing I wanted to mention too, black pepper. We didn't really talk about black pepper. Black pepper oil, if you have it, it's a wonderful oil. It's great for cooking. It's great for so many things, but it's also great for flatulence. So if you've eaten too much and, beans or whatever it is that gives you a little gas, just taking some black pepper in your water or just rubbing it on your tummy. It's such a great oil. It really is wonderful. So that was
Kimberly?
Huh?
Kimberly, do you think, I use coarse ground black pepper on everything. I love black pepper. And in fact, I use it instead of salt most of the time. I just put lots of pepper. Do you think that might, maybe it's not as concentrated as the black pepper oil, but do you think it would have some effect, the same effect?
That's a great question, Barbara. I've never tried, for flatulence, like if I'm gassy, I'll get the black pepper and roll it. But black pepper is overall very healthy for you. And then, so maybe it would cut down on flatulence. I don't know, it kind of depends, but I would use the oil, and the oil is great for putting in your dishes. It tastes delicious. And then Wendy was talking about the Celtic salt. That is so good for you. And, so much of what we hear is stay away from salt, stay away from salt, stay away from iodized salt, the kind that in the Morton thing. It is so, once again,
So bad.
it's so bad for you. But when you get a good Himalayan sea salt or Himalayan salt or Celtic, something that, chunks, and you grind it, it's so good for you. And your body does need salt. So that
Absolutely it does. Yeah.
Was explaining. And so we've got a lot of people who are like, hey, I'm not supposed to use salt. I'm supposed to be We're talking about the salt that they put in foods and packaged foods. That's the salt that we're talking about. Bad for you. Exactly. So
well, to help illustrate that point, table salt has 2 minerals, sodium chloride, and Celtic salt has 82 minerals.
Wow.
Yes.
So you're going to get a lot of minerals when you use a Celtic salt. Or I don't know about Redmond. I love Redmond salt. I haven't looked at how many minerals that has, but Redmond's comes out of Utah. It's a beautiful salt. I love it. And the Himalayan salt is also very good. I think it has 72 minerals in it. So it's also a very good salt. So yeah, stay away from the table salt, which is just sodium chloride and aluminum, and then the added iodine. So stupid.
Just get rid of it.
Stupid. Yeah, stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Barbara, I think that you're going to have to be your own guinea pig, and you're going to have to do a little test, take yourself off your black pepper and see if you're farting. And then if you are, then
I can't take myself off of black pepper. I'll die without it.
Barbara, I have to have it on my meals. Totally.
I just think it's a good thing you live alone.
Oh my gosh, you're asking me, it's like getting off of wine. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, ladies. It was great to see everybody. We have a class scheduled in a couple of weeks, and we're going to be sending you some information about that. But it's going to be about surviving the holidays and showing off our holiday gift catalog. So enjoy your afternoon, and I'm sending you lots of love. And thank you again for being here. It's so nice to see you. I'm going to go ahead and turn off that recording.
Take care of that
Thank
digestive.
you. Thank you.